Hey guys, sorry, Jack here. I want to talk about a certain type of Ultraman. Well, Ultramen. That being titled the New Ultraman Anthology, Ultraman Ginga. Now, Ultraman Ginga was the first full Ultra series. Well, sorta, but I'll explain that after I finish this. After Ultraman Mebius. After Ultraman Mebius, it was movies and specials. So, now Ginga is the first to start the half-series trend, where instead of over 40 episodes, Ginga kept it a minimum around 16 and 17. With later Ultra series sort of following the same path, but keeping it to a 25 episode limit. Now, this saves on production-wise, because, one, it saves money for more conventional Ultra suits, except for the thrills that on the back of Ultras that hide the zippers. And it allows for better model work. Now, let's go over his host. Actually, we need to go over Ginga's background. Now, Ginga is actually an Ultraman from the far-off future, who was actually an entity which we can consider his brother named Dark Lugiel. Now, the two eventually separated, Ginga becoming the light half of the original being, while his brother became the dark half. Now, during the Spark Doll War, Dark Lugiel sealed all the Ultramen and Kaiju in Spark Dolls, which would continue into to Ginga's sequel series and the series after that, Ultraman X, with the trend ending with Ultraman Orb. Now, Ginga was able to defeat Dark Lugiel, but at the cost of his own body. But Dark Lugiel possessed someone in our host's hometown, who would use heralds to give spark dolls and dark dummy sparks, which are copies of Dark Lugiel's weapon, which in turn is the counterpart to our host's transformation item, which would let it become the light sparks, which again is the opposite of the dark dummy sparks. Of course, Lugiel's being called the Lugiel Spark, to enhance their negative emotions and transform them into kaiju. But now, let's go over our host and our main character, Hikaru. Now, Hikaru was originally living in England with his parents before deciding to move back to his hometown. Now he has the Mark of the Chosen One, which allows him to access the transformation item, the Ginga Spark. Now, in the first series, Hikaru wasn't able to summon Ginga's Spark Doll on his own. He had to use other Spark Dolls. This being Kaiju Spark Dolls and the occasional Ultraman Spark Dolls, or Ultra Spark Dolls. But later in the next series, Ginga S, Hikaru was able to summon him on its own. And of course, its transformation item is the Ginga Spark. Okay, the glare's a little better in here, so this is the Ginga Spark in its closed form. However, I'm pretty sure I can find... Yep, here it is. This is the Ginga Spark in its open form. Just need to get it at the right angle, sorry. Okay, if you guys can see past the rainbow, good. As you can see, the two little sides are flipped outwards, and the face is open, revealing Ginga's face. If you guys can see that because of the light and the rainbow. I need good lighting, don't judge. Now the transformation. Now when Hikaru activates Ginga's powers and other Spark Dolls, this is known as Ultra Life. Now the Ginga Spark has another feature, but I'll get into that when we go over Ginga. Oop, that's victory. He'll be in an Ultra I'll also be covering. Here we go. Okay, So, Hikaru's original transformation is that he would pull the two sides down while holding it up, grab Ginga's Spark Doll, hold the Ginga Spark in front of him, and put it on downwards. Now, I haven't gone over the rises, but basically Hikaru holds his hands in closed fists near his color timer and spins around while rising. This is actually a reference to Ginga's name because Ginga means galaxy in Japanese. However, when we got to Ginga S, the transformation was different. Hikaru held out the Ginga Spark, pulled down the two sides, revealing the Ginga Spark Doll. He would grab it, he would turn his hand up, then he would move his hands, swing the Ginga Spark downwards. First, putting the Ginga Spark upwards, swinging it downwards, and bringing it back in front of him. Well, would do the opposite for the Ginga Spark Doll. He would then press the trigger on the side, and Ginga's face would be revealed. He'd then hold it up, like so, while shouting, "Ginga!" And Ginga's rising did away with the spinning, instead holding his hand near his head like this, looking upwards, and then holding his arm like this. Now let's look at Ginga's body. See, same colors as standard Ultraman, but the first Heisei Ultraman did not feature any black. And if you guys can make that out, Ginga's unique features are the blue crystals on his arms and hands. Now these crystals are actually for a special technique, or for actually change color depending on the special technique Ginga will use. His main ray finisher is the Ginga Cross Shoot. Now his crystals will glow an even brighter light blue coloring. He'll hold his first arm out, then cover his second arm on it, pull him outwards, use his left hand and cover that, and put his fist near his elbow. And if I'm looking at the GIF correctly here, yep. It'll go from his hand to the right to where his elbow is. Next is Ginga Thunderbolt. Now he does the same thing for when he's going to use the Ginga Cross Shoot. However, the crystals will grow yellow and Ginga will start to crackle with electricity. He'll then raise his right hand and throw a thunderbolt-shaped disc at his enemy. Next is the Ginga Fireball. Once again, doing the same thing for the first two techniques, but with the crystals glowing red. Hang on, let me look at the GIF real quick so I know I'm doing this right. Oh. He'll then hold this position with fireballs around him, then thrust his left arm forward, shooting the fireballs. Next is the Ginga Saber. Now, hang on. Now, the Ginga Saber really doesn't... Oh, wait, it does. Now, his crystals sort of grow white in this situation. So, Hikaru will cross his hands out with a blue gleam of energy going down his right arm. Next is the Ginga Confront, or as I like to call it, the Ginga Comfort. So, Hikaru will instead of crossing arms in a threatening manner, he will slightly rub his right arm on top of the crystal of his left arm. This will cause all the crystals to grow green, and he'll release a healing wave of energy. A wave of energy that heals. Next is the Ginga Slash. Now similar to Ginga Confront or Ginga Comfort, this technique does not do the same motions as Ginga Cross Shoot, Ginga Thunderbolt, Ginga Fireball, or Ginga Saber. Instead, he'll raise his arms to his head, his crystals being colored a light purple, and then shoot energy slashes at his opponent. Now, here's where we get into the Ginga Spark's ability. Now, the Ginga Spark can be either used as the Ginga Spark Sword. Basically, it's a bigger version in its Ultra-Live. In the Ultra-Live mode, it uses for Ginga and becomes a combat knife. Or there's the Ginga Spark Lance, where the head will become longer and become a pull-like weapon. Next is Ginga Stroom. Now, Taro, the 6th Ultraman, and who is literally known as Ultraman number 6, was part of Ginga's main cast and sort of acted like a mentor figure to Hikaru. After all the Spark Girls were turned back to normal, he later returned in Ginga S, becoming the transformation item known as the Stroom Brace. Now, this is the Stroom Brace in its human mode. Now, this is its human-sized mode, and this is in its giant mode. Pretty interesting, ain't it? Hang on. Just in case I need it again, you never know. Alright. Anyway, so Ginga Stroom, Ginga basically gains armor similar to Taro's. He also gains a crystal known as a beam lamp that was part of Ultraman 7 and Ultraman Taro. Why Ultraman Taro, you ask? Well, that's an interesting thing. I don't know what the reason is, but Taro's head is actually a remold of Ultraman, of Ultra 7. I almost called him Ultraman 7. That doesn't make any sense. Duh. But anyway, this allows Ginga to use the past abilities of the Ultra Brothers. From Ultraman to Ultraman Ace. Now, to transform, Hikaru will turn the faceplate with Taro to its left side. He'll then put the Ginga Spark into the trigger, and then he'll hold his Ginga Spark outwards while holding the Stroom Brace in front of him. And a spirit of Taro behind a red sun will enhance Ginga's power. Now, Ginga has a special finisher in this form, but however, I'm going to go over all the Ultraman attacks Ginga used in this form. Now, there are others, but those were unused in the series because of time constrictions. But I will be going over the poses for each transformation, even if we're not covering those, even if it's only the powers of the Ultra he's summoning. Now to activate this, to use one of the past Ultra Brothers powers, Hikaru will turn the faceplates downward and then spin a wheel. This wheel has the faceplates of the past Ultra Brothers. And once he activates it, he'll press the trigger on the Stroom Brace again. Taro will then announce the power of said Ultraman. And then Hikaru will spin the wheel again to use their attack. So let's start with Ultraman. Now first is Ultraman Specium Ray. Now this is a very simple motion. Hikaru will it'll basically be this. He'll basically cross both his elbows together and shoot a beam of energy. Hang on, I need to use the GIFs for some of these. Next is Zopti and the M87 Ray. So, I'm waiting for the GIF to reload here, so I can do this correctly. Excuse me. Sorry, guys. Okay, so Hikaru will cross his arms like so near his color timer, pull his right arm back, and thrust his left arm forward using a beam of energy. Next is Zopti's Z-Ray. Now, Hikaru will do the same thing, putting his hands near his color timer. He'll then lift his arms up, bring them downwards, bring them back to the color timer, and shoot a beam of energy from them. Next is Ultra 7's Wide Shot. Now this is the first L-shaped style Ultra Blast. And if you guys remember my Tiga video, it's pretty straightforward. Basically, Hikaru will put his elbow on his left arm from the tip of the hand to the elbow, flat against the hand of his right arm, shooting a long beam of energy. Hence what? This is longer than Ultraman's Specium Ray, hence being named the wide shot. Next is the Amerium Ray. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. I can never pronounce it. So, similar to Ultra 7, and subsequently Ultraman Taro, if he ever did use it, will bring his hands to the beam lamp on his forehead and shoot a small ray of energy from it. Next is Ultraman Jack's Ultra Shot. Now, Hikaru will basically put his right arm forward, hold it when it's touching his left arm, which is facing outwards, and shooting a beam of energy. Next is the Ultra Barrier. Now, Hikaru basically creates a rectangle-shaped shield that can either A, deflect an enemy attack, or B, free Hikaru from a prison. Next is Ultraman Ace's Metallium Ray. Now, pretty much Hikaru will swing both his arms to the right and then bring them up into an L-shaped position. Next is Taro's Stroom Ray, and the first attack Ginga ever used in Ginga Stroom. So he'll cross both his arms up like so, bring them down slowly, being covered in an aurora-shaped energy, and then cross his left hand over put his left hand over his right arm, closed as a fist, and it's been a while, and will shoot a beam of energy from the arm. Now, the finisher for this is the Cosmo Miracle Ray. Basically, Hikaru will hold his left arm down near his right arm down near his body, his left arm upwards, and shoot a giant beam of energy. Now, this is the ability to combine all. Oh, hey, Taro did have another finisher where it didn't use his hands. It's called the Horn Beam, and it was never used. Oh well. And in New Generation Heroes, and in in Ultra Galaxy Fighting New Generation Heroes, the final forms for the other New Generation Heroes gave their power to Ginga Stroom and allowed him to use the New Generation Dynamite. Basically, Ginga is covered in fire and launches himself as an opponent. Next, we'll look at Ultraman Victory. Now, son of a bitch. Okay, wait. Oh, here we go. Now, here is Ultraman Victory's color. Now, to contrast Ginga, who is a Ultra from a far future. Victory is an Ultraman from the distant past. Sorry. Like I said, from the distant past. Now his usual show will use the Victory Lancer. Now this also has a gun mode, but this is its main transformation form. So to transform, we'll summon the Victory Spark Doll after changing it from gun mode to Lancer mode. Now, contrary to Hikaru, who puts it at the top of the Ginga Spark, will place it near the center. Then the Victory Lancer will pop open and summon and declare Ultra Live. Guys, oh, I froze. If you guys can hear me, I'm stopping the video. I will continue in another video, I promise.